Okay, remember they're changing my voice. Now there's so many lines of logic that are sound that take us to the irrefutable fact that after my flesh dies, there's no doing God's work. One of them is love. Another is technology. Another is generational ill-gotten gains. Another one's breeding. All these things come together to far overkill it. Let's look in terms of love. What do you need to have a valid marriage? Well, you need A, to be in the divine order, right? You can't cheat someone out of his right to lead in a divine manner and still be right with God. It can't happen. Okay? B, you need, as a man, to have a woman who has a profound soul and intelligence in reality. Not someone who's groomed by some relationship coach, not someone in a cult or a corporate group, not someone who merely listens to her friends and upholds merely human standards, rules, customs, and traditions, but somebody who has a profound soul that's going to receive the righteous man and only the righteous man. And her soulmate, the righteous man who's destined to be her valid and profound and deep and sincere and loyal and disciplined and righteous and faithful husband. Wise, just, fair, good. If you don't have that, then she's just some kind of concubine that you may have unfairly given the title of wife or girlfriend to. Because you have to be a wife material person to be a valid wife. And you have to follow those principles, those martial art and life principles, monotheistic martial arts, mind you, like love and heart and timing and focus, right? Not some unfocused, clueless, ditzy female, okay? And also you yourself have to be a righteous person. So that creates the good tree that bears the good fruit, which includes the fruit of the womb, right? Reproducing literally and figuratively, right? Your fruit, the fruit of your kind of house, of your kind of spiritual union, your spiritual fruit of your spiritual union, and also your offspring, right? That comes out from your flesh, okay, and her flesh, okay? So without these components, these vital core elements, there is no future human race. There's just evil people who still happen to be around. They're like soulless people, but more specifically, they're very rotten soul-having people. It's like looking at a bunch of rotten fruit and saying to somebody, hey, go pick me some fruit. Say, what fruit? There's just rotten fruit. There may as well be nothing there, okay? And that's what is meant by soulless, in the Bible. Okay, so everything that was valuable there, that before it rotted, gets returned to God outside of the soul. So the good was taken, was extracted from them. Their soul, which is who they really are, the person who rejected the good, then gets marshaled to hell. So let me give you an example. Growing up, I used to really study women intensely. Okay? This is part of why it's so frustrating that they changed my voice. My voice used to be so soothing, so perfectly masculine. It was cute. It was attractive. It was divine. And I talked to them with the utmost sensitivity and care. And I'd explain to them exactly why it's wrong to hurt me, exactly why I wanted a relationship that was profoundly romantic, that began right away, and started with making passionate love right away. Now these are, often it was on the internet, so it was people I would never meet. I say my ideal relationship is the one who I'm going to stay with my whole life, and I know them right away, then I start making love to them right away. I didn't know that I was Christ at the time, nor did I really zoom in. I knew that I was the top martial artist on the planet when I was like 17, okay, because my training exploded when I started training by myself, and I had sparred enough people and trained with enough people that I knew that they couldn't really compete with me, right? Okay, but I didn't know that I was Christ, and I didn't connect those two ideas together in that particular way. I did connect it as the ideal thing to be as a top martial artist, but I knew that people didn't appreciate that idea. Okay. So I studied them very carefully. And I knew that the marriage rules didn't apply to me. Why? A, I knew that it was a racist white society, and that black people are not treated fairly. It's not fair to say, hey, you can't afford to get married, therefore you can never have sex. That's not fair. That's not just. That doesn't come from God. No way. B, I was the son of 2 doctors, and I still am, right? The son of a brain surgeon, okay? And my dad was being cheated out of his money all the time because of his lack of his crooked network. Everyone with a strong network has a crooked network. It never fails. That's the case, period. Okay? It's like corporate greed, right? They're all greedy. Okay? So I knew that I should have a lot of money. I should be elevated as this great martial artist, and I knew that I wasn't going to be. So I knew beyond any doubt that you can't go from that to saying that, oh, it's fair to expect that person to wait till marriage. Because it has to have a moral justification, not just a socially normative justification. And so when I did the math, okay, I came up with, well, let me follow my heart on the issue, because my heart is with God. It's in the right place. Also, I knew, number 3, because of the Nigerian Civil War, the West had proven that its churches, its government, okay, for the most part, was insufficient. They were not qualified to tell me to wait till marriage, when I live in the middle of nowhere, when my family gets ripped off all through my life, okay, when I'm the top martial artist on the planet, okay, they weren't qualified to tell me, hey, you gotta wait. Because females are too dumb to fucking, kind of get together and say, hey, this is not fair. Why is this happening to this guy? Let's help this guy get money. Because guys are too dumb to do that? Because females are too dumb to date me? Because a rich female is too dumb to date me? Okay, I knew for many, 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 many reasons. You see what I'm saying? And so, the essence of the law is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And love the Lord your God with all your heart. And it connects to that which you didn't do for the least of my brethren, you didn't do for me. So when you see this righteous guy who's the top martial artist and society basically ostracizes him and shuns him because he's not evil enough, instead of not good enough, you can't say to that guy who's the most romantic guy ever, you've got to wait till marriage. That is outrageous as it gets. That's not why the law was made. And in the New Testament, Jesus overrides the law at times. He said, Moses gave you that commandment because your heart was hardened at the time. Not because it was correct, because you were little kids who were not prepared for the solid, moral warrior, true love spirit of God, which is righteous and just. The spirit of universal pinpointed moral precision, moral, mental, spiritual, and romantic precision. It is not romantically precise to let all kinds of scum get attractive females, many of them who seem like beautiful people inside, and to tell the most righteous person that ever lived he's got to wait for marriage, a marriage that will never happen. Okay? So all these scumbags have erotic desire, crony capitalists and evil communists, sex and fake marriages, and yet I do not get my soulmate. Rubbish. And this culminated in the sealing of mankind in hell. Now nobody is allowed to have sex. Now notice as they break my commands, what happens? I just read that there's a 42.4% obesity rate. See, a bunch of obese people, bunch of gluttons, no offense to anybody, breaking my commands. They're not exactly making love. They're not even taking care of themselves enough to make love. So they're just having some kind of animal sex. And there's a bunch of arrogant people who are allowed to look good. They have arrogant in a cult or something, in a corporate group, allowed to look good, pitiful, shallow, less than Bugs Bunny sex. That's not making love. They never grew up. So as they broke my decrees, their things are ruined, like it says in Revelation 18. Babylon's merchandise, romantic, spiritual, you name it, physical. It's ruined. The movies are garbage. The music is garbage. Dating is garbage. People are turning into garbage because they refuse to do the right thing. And they let time go by until the best years of my life, right, the ripe fruit, the best years of my life were gone. Now there's no way back. Everyone could obey God through me right now, and there's still no future for humanity because that wouldn't be justice. That's what the parable of the tenants is about, the wicked husbandman. Once you took me outside the vineyard when it was time to collect, on top of all the other horrible things you people have done as a planet. You all were on the broad road, no exception, except for my parents. Then you could no longer have valid offspring of God. Done.